We got a second album from the rap, rock slash metal American band Fever 333 with Darker White. So this has been the highly anticipated new record from the band after following the 2019 record Strength in Numbers, which I quite like as a record, although I do have some questions about it, as while I don't enjoy as much as the first EP they've released, I think there's still some great ideas. I just find that half the songs feel like there's another song after it. They just kind of goes for something random, and it's a weird structure, but I kind of like it because it gives it a bit more uniqueness. Darker White, as I'll go through the track list, I'll let you know my opinion on it, as this album is definitely different, and either that's in the right way or the wrong way. So let's go through the tracks. We start with New West Order, which talks about Jason Butler and his views of being a mixed race man in an alternative scene, and seeing how far they've gone with it, to the point where Fever 333 mentioned the fact that they have been a Grammy nominated band with the track Made in America from their EP, and pretty much given more or less viewpoints on how band members have left in bad light. New West Order goes very political, just from the views alone, but also to the fact that it mentions how Jason also got arrested for assaulting a police officer a few years back. And I think the way this is all crafted into the song, it works for a fun song. I think it definitely has the message that the chorus is punchy, and it definitely feels like what I'd imagine FIFA 333 would put out, so you get a strong start with this track. Higher Power is definitely something that I can put against something like Falling in Reverse and see how they're polar opposites. You have the track Ronald from the latest album from Falling in Reverse, talking about the problems with transgender people, and then you have Fever 333 using it as one of the examples of how oppression is a huge problem, and how a lot of people, especially the alt-right movement, are going and attacking transgender people. I think the message here is definitely showing that it's taking a similar approach to what that band's doing, and a bunch of other bands as well. Again, the political aspect from Rage Against the Machine, and some other artists I'll mention soon, but yeah, I think the way that they handle it here is definitely quite good as well. Higher Power definitely shows how it's not just transgender people. Obviously, there's other races of people that are getting attacked unfairly, which isn't right at all. And you can definitely tell that that's something Jason Butler's passionate speaking about. Higher Power, also quite a good song, and I think it holds up nicely. Not as good as New West Order, but still a good song. I'm not a big fan of Ball Andy Bullet as I was with New West Order and Higher Power, mainly because the big issue I have with this is it just sounds like something Tom McDonald would do, and the way the beat is given, gone from this more like rap metal, post-hardcore, trap metal flow with the first two tracks, you just kind of get this very deep groove that just has a little less emotion to it. It just feels like a simpler song, trying to stretch already a point that we've seen presented much better in previous songs on this record. This track, I did not like this one at all. Luckily, after the weak third track, No Hostages is honestly one of the best songs from Fever 333's catalogue in general. This one definitely has a great point. It's instrumentally is great, it's punchy, it's catchy, and I just love the aggression on it. It definitely shows you that Fever 333, especially Jason Butler's not taking any shit from this. So the song being about police brutality and how it's mainly targeted towards people of colour. I think the way that the song just addresses it works tremendously well, and it is definitely a huge problem that even despite from the George Floyd situation, it's still not really been resolved in any way. So it's nice that the band's addressing it, and it definitely works well. Really good song. Just like that, we enter with the lead single Swing, which is a song I'm not a fan of. I think the chorus is just so in your face with this la 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 swing bada bada swing bada bada swing, and it's not a very punchy thing. It just sounds like a corny ass chorus to put on, especially since you've got some serious points in the record, and the way that it's kind of thrown in your face here. Swing is just not a fun song. Even the verses are just very bland in my opinion. Instrumentally it's alright, but I just can't really get into this one. Murderer goes into depth about the Palestinian-Israel conflict with the thousands of innocent Palestinians lives being lost into it, which is obviously tragic. The song being a lot like more we want to call professional, as well as less corny, going into more of a serious tone, and then using the anger to express the chorus and how awful the law enforcement is on it, makes for a decently good track. I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but as the auto-tune on the chorus can be quite annoying and it definitely ruins it. But as a whole, the song's not half bad. I'll just say it's a decent song. I'm not crazy on it, but Murder is definitely not the worst thing out there. Tourist is, in my opinion, another weak track. I think the chorus is just so weirdly bland, and whenever it's trying to give you anything more satisfaction, it just feels again like some random Tom McDonald chorus again. At least it's just very corny in that regard. The verse is alright, but I think the overall beat in the direction Tourist takes is one of the most bland directions I think the band's gone for, and the fact they've had Mike Shinoda help write this one, and yet this doesn't sound anything crazy good. Yeah, I'm quite surprised. It's not a good song in my opinion. Nosebleeds is a song that feels like it doesn't really go anywhere. At least out of a back-to-back song that has Mike Shinoda working on it, the writing, it does feel more confident in what it's going for, but it just feels like it's just the same thing throughout, and the whole point and direction is just kind of there to begin with, and you don't really have much more to go for it. The bridge is kind of lacking, the chorus is just very generic. It's not a very strong song. Do or Die focuses more on trap metal, trap rock beats, and I quite like the element to it, as it does feel a lot more unique than the last run of songs we've had, giving definitely into the impression of Fever 333's more trap blend with rap and metal and all sorts of genres you want to throw in there. But to me, Do or Die just kind of comes off again as another cheesy, weaker song. The writing isn't again the best the band's got out there. I think the points that they address definitely work better on the first few songs, and it's a shame here because Do or Die definitely has a lot more going to it for it than Tourist or Nosebleeds and Bullet and the Bullet, but unfortunately it's another song I'm not really big on, to be honest. Negligence again plays a trap, and I do like the elements to it, not as much as Do or Die, to be honest, and I actually think the song's weaker than that track. To me, it just feels like the vocal delivery very much reminds me of Popular Monster bringing the Falling in Reverse back. It definitely reminds me of Prequel, especially delivery in the verses, and I can't get it out of my head. And the chorus, I think the chorus is actually alright for the song, but it's not enough to make it as good as it is. I think it's kind of a weak song, to be honest. Desert Rap is the song that we've been sort of missing in the last couple of tracks, and I actually like it. It feels a lot stronger. I like the instrumental change. I think the vocals and just the overall delivery are a lot stronger, and this song even has some memorable moments, like talking about Tupac and Playing Dead, which is a reference to the fact that there's a lot of rumors people think Tupac faked his death just to get away and hide as he was assassinated, but people don't really know much other than him being assassinated, pretty much, which I think is interesting that you've mentioned that into it, and it definitely adds some good bars to this one. Yeah, it's a good track, I'll say. While Dead on Arrival, DOA, Sean has got some really annoying vocoder for the chorus, and the delivery on the verses can be kind of obnoxious. I think it kind of works in the obnoxiosity, God, I can't pronounce that, in a way that makes the song actually okay, in my opinion. Production wise, it's definitely one of the highlights of this album, and I think it's got a good beat to it. It's decent. Going back into the magic of better FIFA 333 tracks with Pin Drop, in my opinion, one of the best songs on the record. Definitely up there with No Hostages. I love the energy, I love the overall reference to Jason Butler being on bail, as well as just the overall I want blood. Yes, it's simple, but it definitely gets the point across. It's definitely an anger written track, and I love it. The energy is great. The bridge, the instrumentals, the little piano chime synth you hear on the chorus is really cool. It's a good song. And finally, More Music Part 2. This one ends up talking about how they blend hip hop and rock, and how it's kind of been the flow of their entire music career. It's a nice sort of change of pace from getting more into deeper the political side, but I like it. I think mob music, not one of the strongest songs, but out of the good songs, while being one of the weakest, it's still a good song as I consider it. So you kind of get a good end towards the latter half of the record, and that is everything on the record. It might have been a long-winded video, but there's a lot I wanted to talk about. To summarize Fever 333's new record, this is not as good as Strength in the Numbers. This is a lot worse, to be honest. While you do have some good songs, I feel like they're sandwiched. The first bunch of songs have some good stuff to it, like New West Order, Higher Power, and No Hostages for the first part, and it's only towards the end that the last 4 songs are actually decent to good. And I think the fact you got a whole line of weak songs definitely it kind of drags it down a bit. I didn't know what to feel about this because it's by far not a bad album. There's a lot of strengths to it. There's a lot of stuff I think Fever 333 put out, but it's definitely very corny compared to what they've done before. And while there are some good points, I just can't take the album seriously half the time, even though it's trying to put out some serious narrative with some of the cheesiest lyrics put out to date, as well as also some of the weakest choruses that just feel so bland and very much trying to appeal to the masses in a bland, weak way. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this one, to be honest. While there is good songs, I just don't see myself really going back to the songs as much. More or less just a few singles here and there. I'm going to have to give it a 2 out of 5, but it's definitely not close to being one of the worst albums of the year. There's still some good to it, I'm just not a big fan. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next video.